Yeah, it's a very hard process. A lot of people, we try to teach people like the liquor industry is not an easy industry, especially tequila is more so on top of that, just because with tequila, you are dealing with not only the US government as far as, liquor and spirit, you're also dealing with the Mexican government. So I didn't know that at first. Of course, I found that out in this whole process. And so it's a little bit more challenging, just a lot of the steps that you have to take.
Welcome back to Recipe to Revenue. I am here today with Nayana Ferguson, the co-founder of Tequila. Nayana, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am super excited to have you here today. When I was found out about your brand and I heard about your story, I knew that we had to talk. I had to meet you and, have you tell, I know you've told your story in a lot of different venues already, but I really wanted our audience to hear your story and, meet the person behind the brand. And, I found it very inspirational. You're a 2-time cancer survivor. Mm-hmm. You started the business with your husband, so you work with your husband day in and day out, as I do. So I relate to you on that one, which is fun. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that in our previous conversations, and you've gone through the whole fundraising aspect of launching the brand. So there's lots that I wanted to chat with you about today. So thanks again for joining us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit just about the tequila, how you got it started. Let's start there.
We can go back to actually 2016. I actually surprised my husband on a birthday trip that he knew not where we were going till we got to the airport. And we went to the Dominican, and I always like to say he upped my surprise by proposing on that trip as well. So while we were celebrating, right. While we were celebrating that evening, we were, of course, drinking tequila the whole weekend and things like that. And we were, because we just got engaged, we were talking about our lives, like, what are we going to do? And we were drinking tequila. So we were like, we should have a tequila company. But, that's not something that we focused on in that moment in time. But that was 2016, because it does actually lend to the story as well, because while we were celebrating that weekend, we actually saw hummingbirds. And that is our logo. Later on, of course, we found out that there's a species of hummingbird called the Antillean crescent hummingbird in the DR. And so that kind of came, our logo, our name, and all of that. But fast forward to a year later, and I was getting outsourced. Again, I'm a financial analyst by career. And I was in automotive, and they were always outsourcing to Mexico or to some other country. Yeah. And my husband was also being moved in his position. He was a VP of operations at Quicken Loans, Rocket Mortgage. And, when you are executive level in a corporate career, you don't really have a lot in your life to do, because that controls a lot of your life. So I asked him a question, and I said, because we were talking about, maybe we should do something different, maybe invest in a business or do something else to control our legacy. And I asked him, I said, well, if you could do anything, what would you do? And he was like, you know what, I would own a tequila company, but we can't do that. And I was like, why not? And so we really seriously at that moment started talking about it. And 2 days later, I found our distillery, who we still work with today. And about a month and a half later, I got some samples sent to us. My husband was still a little skeptical about it. And I said, no, it's going to be good. He's like, these samples aren't going to be good at all. And all of that. I was like, just wait, and we got them, had some friends over, did a tasting. He's like, these are actually good. Do you really think we could do this? And I said, you know what, I'll come up with a budget for us to launch a very small proof of concept shipment. Yeah. And he was like, well, if it doesn't work, we'll have tequila for the rest of our life.
Right. Basement stocked. Yeah. Right.
And then it worked out very well. And 11 months later, I had our first bottle in hand. We launched in August of 2018 in the Michigan market. Now we are 6 years later, and we're in over 20 states. We have online ordering if I'm not available in your state directly. We've won 118 awards since 2019. So we're
Wow.
actually one of the most awarded tequila brands on the market. And when we launched in 2018, I actually became the first Black woman to have ownership and lead a tequila brand at that time. So
Wow.
it's a lot
Well,
that's happened.
congratulations. That's 118 awards is just absolutely impressive.
Yeah,
So,
it's a lot.
well done.
And we slowed down this year. We had a goal of, making 100, and we were wondering if we were going to be able to make that because you never know. We entered international spirit competitions, and these are highly accredited competitions. We were like, we don't know. But we got up to our 100, and we still started winning even after.
Yeah. Well, there was momentum, so just train kept rolling.
Right. So all of our expressions are all awarded. They all have multiple awards. So it's
Incredible.
amazing to have that.
Yeah. So, okay. So you had the idea, you were inspired, as a lot of inspiration comes over sitting around in a beautiful location having drinks, right? So you're inspired then. And then did you just go to Google? It was like tequila distillery.
Well, I did. I do like to joke that I started this tequila company by Google and FedEx. So I did start. I'm a researcher. I'm a planner. All of that. So yes, I did. I Googled like, how do you start a tequila company? Because there's no blueprint out there for tequila. There's blueprints out there for other spirits, but not tequila. And so I sent out a couple of emails to several distilleries, seeing a partner with, and I received two responses. One of them is the one that we work with today, and we work with them because they were so forthcoming with questions that I had, and answering questions, and the whole process. Truly, they really kind of pulled us through that process as I was learning this industry. So that's why we work with them. But I did.
Well, that makes a big difference, to have somebody kind of guide you through. They know their side of the business, and and
but
makes good partners.
So. I Googled it. So
I Googled it. Yes. Okay.
But now I know enough that, I know a lot, of course. And we also have a business consulting company. So I have a couple of people who we have put through the process of launching another spirit. So I know I'm an expert now. I wasn't.
You did. You went through the what my husband calls the master's training of life, and you got your own master's degree through that process. So
I learned as I went, and so we're still here 6 years later. So I guess I'm doing good.
Doing good. And then, so the distillery, what kind of direction did you give them of what you were looking for?
So we wanted to, because we know that researching, because me and my husband did a lot of research. Once we got serious about it, we did a lot of research on tequila brands and what they're coming out with. And usually the brand will start with the Blanco. And if they do another expression, they usually do Blanco and Reposado. Well, we wanted to be different with that. So we actually launched with the world's only coconut lime Blanco tequila when we launched. And we launched with our Reposado, which is aged 8 months in charred Tennessee whiskey barrels, which is, especially at that time, was distinctive because a lot of Reposados are aged in American white oak barrels. And they're usually aged between 4 and 6 months. So we aged it longer, and then we also put it in a barrel. The world's only coconut lime Blanco tequila, we wanted to come out with something that was different, but also I'm an 18-year pancreatic cancer survivor, so I'm pre-diabetic. And we wanted to make sure that we were making something that I could drink. So we didn't want to add any added sweeteners or sugars to our tequila. So we did a natural infusion of natural extracts from the meat of the coconut and the meat of the lime. And basically, it's a deconstructed margarita. It's a deconstructed coconut margarita in a bottle. That has no added sweeteners or sugars. And the world's only coconut lime Blanco is our most awarded and bestseller. It's not what people think. So that's why I think it's become so popular. So yeah.
That's incredible too, because when you hear of different like flavors, you automatically think it's artificial, it's just full of sugar. And so
our consumers, so we call it the coconut lime effect. At any event, People start trying the coconut lime. We get the wow, oh my God, that's not what I thought. They
Yeah.
get all of these conversations going. And then about an hour and a half, 2 hours into the event, we start getting people coming back over. They're like, yeah, somebody told me to come try this coconut lime.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, you can see the word of mouth happening. And you're like, oh, this is it. This is the vibe. I love it.
They keep coming back and
Yeah.
they're like, this is just so good. And some people are like, I don't even like coconut, but I like your coconut. I like your tequila. I like your coconut lime tequila. So
Yeah.
Even 6 years later, it is still the world's only one. So we are appreciative of that.
Very cool. Yeah.
But nobody will have our same recipe, so it will still be the world's only one. Tasting the way that it tastes. So yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So, okay. So then you got the bottle, you got a great recipe, you got a great distiller, and then you were going to get these bottles out to the world. So how did that process start?
Yeah. It's a very hard process. A lot of people, we try to teach people that the liquor industry is not an easy industry, especially tequila is more so on top of that, just because with tequila, you are dealing with not only the U.S. government as far as, liquor and spirit, you're also dealing with the Mexican government. So I didn't know that at first. Of course, I found that out in this whole process. Yeah. And so it's a little bit more challenging, just a lot of the steps that you have to take. But after that, after we got our first bottle, I remember we had 336 cases. That was our first order, right, of 6 bottles each case. So we were like, is one of those go or bust, one of those type of things.
Yeah.
And
time to sell it.
I mean, our agreement between me and my husband was, I said, okay, I will get this tequila made. I will get it here, but you have to sell it. So,
yeah. Division of duties is important.
Yes. We still have those same duties today. So it's funny, but he started riding around all of Michigan, from top to bottom, selling our tequila. And he, it was grassroots. It was boots on the ground type of thing, going ourselves and selling us tequila, giving tastings to stores and all of that. So we had that. We also have a distributor, or had a distributor in Michigan at the time. And they have account managers as well. But you as the owner, as the brand, you have to sell it. So that's kind of what we did in the beginning. Since we started in August of that year, we didn't know then, but we do know now that the holidays is a little bit difficult to get new products into a store location.
Yeah.
So we did, my husband did about 90 accounts of his own between like August, September, October.
Right.
And so, we started getting word of mouth. We had a lot of support from people that he worked with, I work with, friends, family, and things like that. So it was a lot of word of mouth that kind of happened. And then, our first year was 2019, and it was one of those like, hey, let's get it out here. That's when we started entering spirit competitions. That's when we started, winning.
Yeah.
And then in 2019, we actually came out with our Blanco because we started getting feedback from restaurants and other locations about, lower price point for a tequila, and most want a Blanco. So we came out with our Blanco in September of 2019. So, because we saw some success with our coconut lime. We didn't know that we would, but we did. Because, of course, at first people were like, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, you're like, you drink it, but.
Right. Start there.
Right. So, it was just that momentum coming. Like I said, the Blanco came out in September of 2019. Then, 2019 was a great year. We were, getting in our groove. In 2020, we had to think, okay, we were doing very well. In February of 2020, we had the plan to branch out to California and Florida. And we had all of these travel plans. However, COVID happened.
Yes, the best laid plans.
Right. So we ended up pivoting and doing a lot of social media marketing and things of that nature, just because, the landscape changed.
Sure.
We weren't able to go in person and all of that. And actually our sales, I think, tripled during that time. because everybody was drinking.
Everybody's drinking and everybody was on social media. So
Yeah, yeah. And
win-win.
nobody knew what was what's happening. So we
Yeah.
had online retailers being
Uh-huh.
able to deliver our tequila to, those who were ordering online.
Yeah. And
So
were you selling through your site as well?
yeah, so it
Yeah.
was not our site directly because you can't do
Hmm.
that with liquor. You have to have
Hmm.
a partner. And so it was online retailers on our
Hmm.
website was linked to them.
Yeah. Linking to them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
to go ahead and do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then we just continued our momentum. 2021, we actually came out with the first Morocco Blood Orange Blanco
Hmm.
Tequila. We came out with that on National Tequila Day, July
Yeah.
24th in
Awesome.
2021. That made a big splash. We did a great marketing effort with that. A lot of people were doing a scavenger hunt because we only had it was a limited release. And we did
Mm.
that on purpose, to get
Yeah.
people to our brand,
Hmm.
to notice our brand, to start buying our brand. So that's something that
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
And then we did launch with our Añejo back in December of 2023.
Hmm.
So we now have 5 expressions. So we have
Yeah.
our traditional line. We have that Blanco. We have the world, our Reposado, which is aged 8 months in
Hmm.
our Tennessee whiskey barrels. Our Añejo, which is aged 15 to 17 months in charred and toasted whiskey barrels. Then we have
Mm.
our infused line, which is the world's only
Yeah.
coconut lime Blanco tequila and the first Morocco Blood Orange tequila.
Yeah.
So, 6 years
Yeah.
later, we have 5 expressions. We're still
Oh,
moving and grooving and growing.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, lots more to grow there. So about a product a year, it's kind of been pacing at
Almost,
approximately.
almost.
Yeah,
I think we got
yeah,
one more in me to research
yeah,
and develop,
yeah,
and that'll complete our infused line, and then we'll be done with that. But that's
yeah,
something that I'm actively working on right now.
yeah. Oh, very exciting. Did you work with mixologists to come up with cocktails? Did you guys come up with cocktails? Like when people, like, how do we use this? How did you
So
give them
yeah, I
direction?
mean, over these years, I called my husband. He's a mixologist at this point to me,
Yeah.
but he's self taught
Mm-hmm.
because, of course, in the beginning we didn't have those type of resources to get to mixologists and things like that, or professionals, I'll say,
Mm-hmm.
to do our cocktails. So he came up with a lot of cocktails.
Yeah.
However, when we got an investment in 2022, we got a VC investment,
Mm-hmm.
and part of that allows us to have consultants in with Diageo. And
Yeah.
so they have mixologists. And so they made cocktails for each of our expressions except the añejo
Yeah.
for year round. So we are able to offer not only our homemade, as I call them, cocktail choices, but we also have some made by professional mixologists for evergreen, which means you can use them year round. We also have seasonal cocktails, and we also have batch cocktails. So we have all of those options
Yeah.
for any location that we go to, and we have pricing and margin for them as well. So the big mixologists
Mm-hmm.
were able to do that to make it more attractive when we give it to on premise location, because we already got a cocktail for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
simple,
You're ready to go.
seasonal, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of direction in that.
Yeah. So what was that the VC funding experience like for you? You got to a point where you kind of bootstrapped the company yourself and your husband over the first couple of years, and then to get to that next level,
Yeah,
sometimes it takes somebody else to help come in and do that.
you have to grow a company. You can't always use your own money continuously. We
Yeah.
bootstrapped it for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
And then actually that third year we did a friends and family round because we had a
Mm.
lot of friends and family who were very interested in this journey with us and wanted
Hmm.
to invest with us.
Yeah.
So we did that. And then we caught the eye of a VC because they came to us,
Hmm.
and because they started seeing us, they
Yeah.
started seeing things, and they came to us in 2022, at the end of 2022. And um, it was almost like Shark Tank in a sense. I say, but
Yeah.
Shark Tank doesn't do liquor per se. They do
Right.
wine here, but they don't do liquor per se.
Hmm.
And I mean, we had to do the whole, meet, and it was Zoom. It was by Zoom though, but
Okay.
we had to do
Okay.
the whole, we prepared for our presentation in,
All
getting
the
numbers,
financials
have to
and
do all the financials and
yeah.
everything. So it
At
was
least that's your expertise. So you're
a
right.
but it was like a 3-month process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when we did our presentation, we did it on a Zoom in front of 11 people
Wow.
in the investment committee. And
Yeah.
they decided that we obviously looked like we were something viable to
Yeah.
invest in. And so we got our investment. So we were very excited about it because that just continues our growth, be able to continue to move through different states and keep our product on the shelves.
Right. Right. And then you've used WeFunder as well, right?
So that is something this year that we started. We actually asked our community last year as well, like late last year, like if anybody's interested, let us know, because we wanted to kind of gauge our community because we still have people who wanted to invest in our company, but they couldn't do 5 figures. They couldn't do the bigger amounts that at this moment in time. Where our valuation is, to get even a 1% is not something that everybody has every day. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to offer something to our community to be able to invest. So, there's a minimum of like $250 that they can get in on to invest in this journey with us. And so, that's something that we started this year. And that's a whole process as well. A lot of people know, that's another financials thing. That's another, getting CPA reviews and filing with the SEC and all of those things. So that's a process as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, once again, it's good that you have that financial background to navigate that, because I think a lot of people, when they come into this type of business from like the marketing side, they, I talked about this recently, like they already had the vision for the packaging, they had the vision for the marketing campaign, but there's this whole other financial side. Yes, but do you have money to actually do it? And can you put together all the statements that you need to? And go through all the paperwork.
I have help now. In the beginning, it was me doing all this stuff, but I have an accountant, of course, because I don't have that type of time to, because it's so much more now. Back then when we started, it was one state. It was, and easy to manage. It's several states now, and I'm not. I don't have
with all different rules and laws. Exactly. So what is your day like now? Now that where you are in the business, what does your day-to-day look like?
So because I'm still in the same role when we kind of started, I'm logistics, I'm operations, I'm finance. So a lot of it is managing different aspects of that. So, it depends on where I am in the year. Like right now I have a shipment coming. So basically I start that process with our distillery to say, hey, I need to order some more product, and, making sure labels get there. They make sure now, thankfully, our distillery works with a lot of our vendors in Mexico to get our bottles there, top tier and stuff like that. But that is all something, that has to be monitored to get it there so they can make it. So I am part of that process. I'm also part of, just so many things that come up every day in emails, dealing with making sure I get tequila from, we have a warehouse in Jersey, we have a warehouse in California that has our product. So I have different states that may need some. So, just that whole process, I deal with our logistics companies. Okay, so I have product in New Jersey that needs to make it to Oklahoma, Texas, or something like that. I have to, start that process and manage that. And then just the everyday stuff, keeping up with the
doing interviews like this.
Keeping up with financials with my accountant, meeting with them, also keeping my own internal, processes going as far as my spreadsheets and things that I'm monitoring and looking at, because I have to monitor inventory levels. I have to monitor, sales and things of that nature. So there's a lot of that going on, and also supporting my husband with sales and marketing. So.
Yeah. And then talk a little bit about his day-to-day these days, at the sales and marketing side.
I mean, for me, he does a lot more, just because, you have to put all this content out, for social media marketing and social media platforms. You have to make this content, he makes videos and pictures and stuff, to think about every day, basically, because you have to keep your brand and your the visibility of it on social media, because we have very short attention spans, and you got to keep having something out there so people can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, does his own campaign projects, with that social media marketing, but he also manages our sales team. So we have sales teams in different
Mm-hmm.
states. And so those people are out selling our tequila along with our
Mm-hmm.
distributors. So,
Yeah.
it's a lot of that, managing that as well.
Yeah. Making sure they have the material that they need
Exactly.
and the talking points and the
Yes.
education.
He does the training,
Yeah.
all of those things. And, they have questions and they're calling and
Mm-hmm.
sales sheets and all of these things that happen with marketing, he's handling.
Yeah.
So his days are pretty busy as well, just because, all of that is a lot to deal with.
Yeah. And so what is your guys' big plan? What's the end goal with this brand? Is it continue developing new products? Is it,
I mean,
staying in this? Is it selling?
we got one more, like I said, product to
Yeah.
kind of come out with to finish that line. And, you never know. We want to continue to grow the brand.
Mm-hmm.
We want to continue to make it become a national brand that everybody recognizes, even though we have a lot of people who recognize our brand from
Mm-hmm.
all states. Because
Yeah.
even like I'm not even in Rhode Island as far as distributed, and I'm not
Yeah.
in Seattle, but I have people who have ordered it online. So I have people
Yeah.
from Seattle to Rhode Island who has my
Yeah.
tequila, and everybody in between.
Yeah.
And so it's just continuing to grow the brand, get it out there, and you never know, if someone comes along and they offer me enough money, then I may sell.
Could be enticed.
I can be talked to about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That is, this is more of a passion project for us.
Yeah.
It's a legacy project for us,
Mm-hmm.
because our taglines are to create your legacy, but also live significantly, because we do feel that everyone has a legacy within them. And
Yeah.
we want everyone to live significantly in their lives, choosing
Mm-hmm.
how to create your legacy for your families. So,
Yeah.
that's very important to us. And, but if something comes along, I'm not going to say I'm going to say no.
Yeah. Well, and it does accomplish the end goal of perhaps getting more people to know the brand at the end of the day. So
Yes,
it still serves the purpose. So
absolutely. So, but it's a great ride. It's challenging, of course. And there's some days where you like, why am I doing this? But
yeah,
it
what
is,
has been the most challenging thing that has been part of this business so far?
what, it's been so many, but
Yeah, yeah, I know. So, no, seeing the question, I was like, oh, there's probably so many, but
there's so many.
what's
But
something that comes
I
to mind?
know something that is big for every brand that I know. It's always capital. It's always
Yeah.
distribution. It's always, making sure that you have that money to continue to grow, but also have those connections, those resources to distribute to those
Mm-hmm.
areas that you are trying to be in for your consumers. So
Right.
that is always a challenge, because we're always going to need money
Yeah.
for it, because we're growing. So,
Mm-hmm.
in a growth phase, we make money, absolutely, but we need more to extend, to kind of extend it.
Yeah.
The money that our company makes pays for itself, pays for the company, but we
Mm-hmm.
need it to go beyond. So
Right.
yeah, those are
Yeah.
always just some challenges, but I can tell you, so I have so many
Yeah.
challenging stories.
I'm sure, you could write a whole book about this and yeah. Yeah. And then the people that work with you on your consulting business, I'm sure, you get
Yeah,
to share some of those stories directly with them.
absolutely. And getting them to the point, because a lot of people, we do know that a lot of people experience fear when they're doing either
Mm-hmm.
a business or something like that. That is a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But I'm a public speaker as well. So I'm paid to be at conferences and events. And I speak
Mm-hmm.
about fear, but also having faith in self. I have
Mm-hmm.
a tremendous faith in myself. For some reason, I feel like whatever I set out to do, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do talk about that to people at conferences and events, but with our
Mm-hmm.
consultant, our clients, it's just making sure that that yes, is human. We all have fear, but it's like
Sure.
moving past it. Like it's not like you can't still do it. You can be fearful
Yeah.
and do it.
Right. Right.
And see what happens, because we didn't know this was going to happen, and 6 years later we're still here.
Right. And
And we,
thriving.
right. And if we would have let fear rule us, we wouldn't be here today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you just would have finished your cocktail in Dominican Republic and said that was a fun idea. So we're going back to work Monday.
Right.
So,
And all of that. So, now I have several options
mhm.
to be able to do and move and grow forward. So, you know,
Yeah. Do you think that's one of the things about being an entrepreneur that you have enjoyed the most is just giving yourself those options?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's always challenging
Yeah.
because it takes a mindset to be an entrepreneur. It really does.
Yes.
Because you're not getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, you're not getting a paycheck every month or whatever. And so you need to make sure that you are moving and growing your business if you're going to be able to sustain yourself. Both my husband and I work for the company 24/7. We don't
Hmm.
have other jobs,
Right.
so
Yeah.
we need to make sure it works because we're gonna have somewhere to live.
Yeah, it's good motivation. So,
Great motivation for that.
yeah.
We got a daughter, we got, all of
Yeah.
these things that we have.
Yeah.
We have a family, and we want to still, live comfortably in our lives, but we do have that
Hmm.
option right now of our time. But that's a big thing too, time management, making sure you're doing different
Hmm.
things
Yeah.
to make sure your business is continuing to grow.
Yeah. And then and just my last question, before we wrap up. So how do you balance between, you're living this 24/7, you wanted to succeed, and also giving yourself time to, you know, rest and, you know, take care of yourself.
It's a work in progress every day.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
day it is a choice to say, okay, what hour maybe can I just have just
Hmm.
to myself to do
Yeah.
something? I do that in the form of either baths or try to meditate and
Hmm.
things like that. But yeah, it is a 24/7 thing.
Yeah.
We are always doing something with the business,
Hmm.
even when we go out. And if we're going to a new restaurant, it always is
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
the tequila.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But we do
You're
try,
like, they should carry it. We should
right,
talk to the
right.
bartender on
They
the way
don't have
out.
it. I mean, especially if it's a great restaurant. We're up here,
Yeah.
we tequila companies.
You're so
But
great.
it's just a conscious effort of trying
Yeah.
to find those times. We will, if I don't have a meeting or anything priority,
Yeah.
I will walk away from the computer and go lay in the bed for about half an hour just to,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
relax a little bit.
Clear your mind.
So yeah, so I mean, it's all of those things, just making sure, but it's a work in progress every day, believe me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But your drive and your determination really has got you guys to where you are today and the
Hey,
success that you've
hey,
had.
I
So,
gotta, I got a family. We gotta
yeah.
be able to be
Right.
okay. So yeah,
Yeah. Oh, excellent. So actually, this is my last question.
yeah.
So live before. So what is your recipe to revenue? What has been in this business your recipe to revenue? The thing that has made you succeed?
My positive mindset. Because me being an 18-year pancreatic cancer survivor, almost 19, it'll be 19 years on November 14th,
Mhm.
and being a 12-year breast cancer survivor, I understand that my mindset during those challenging times and a whole bunch of other times in my life that I've had some challenges, my
Yeah.
mindset has always been, I will get through this, I will move through this, I will figure it out, I will resolve it or whatever. I
Hmm.
don't give in to the fear. I don't give in to, negative thinking in that manner. So I truly feel because starting this from the ground up and getting it to where it is now, my mind has had to continue to be positive with it because
Yeah.
as I said earlier, there's so many challenges thrown your way that you can be like, forget it, I'm not doing this anymore,
Right. Just throw in the
and
towel.
exactly. So you have to keep that positive mindset. And as they always say, know your why, know why you're
Hmm.
doing something, know why you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I just continue to keep that positive mindset because I know obviously I was meant to do this for whatever reason that I don't see now. Even though
Hmm.
people tell me it's because I'm inspiring, I've motivated so many people in doing different things, not only with the
Hmm.
Tequila brand, but with me being a two-time cancer survivor
Yeah.
and being, an entrepreneur and a pioneer in the industry. Those things keep me going. But I
Yeah.
truly feel for me over all of this time, it's been my positive mindset.
Yeah. Well, that really can be a big driver for those day
Yeah.
to days where you're like, why am I doing this?
Yes.
And like you said, to know your why, but that to
Yeah.
have that clarity, I think really lets people kind of get through those tough times and get them to the next
Absolutely.
level that
Absolutely.
they
Because
want to
there
be
are
doing.
days, believe me, and if this is an option, there are days that I'm like, you know what, I'm not doing anything today.
Yeah.
And I don't have to because I do have a business that is always running and making money,
Hmm.
when I'm asleep. But,
Right.
there are times, sometimes you just gotta be like,
Yeah.
I'm not
Tomorrow's a new fresh day.
doing it today. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I
absolutely.
really appreciate all your insights and your story. And I think it's so motivational for people that are thinking about starting
Mhm.
a spirits brand or any kind of food and beverage brand. Just
Yes,
the journey that you could be on from the very start of Google to funding to, you know, nationwide distribution. So we are
exactly.
excited to see you continue to expand however that happens and, check them out online and tell us where they can find more about you. I'll let you
So our
show
social
that.
media platforms, we're Until Tequilas, and then our website is untiltequila.com.
Yes. Excellent. Well, thanks. We will talk to you again soon. Appreciate you coming
Absolutely.
on. All
Thank
right.
you.
Have a good day. Bye.